The story I'm going to tell today is the hardest word. This is a story for the coming holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. A long, long time ago, the world had many large, fabulous creatures. One of these creatures was a gigantic dragon. It was green and white. It had pink and white wings and purple horns. He was called the Ziz. The Ziz was so huge that when he spread out his wings, he blocked the sun as if he were a dark rain cloud. Every time he flew over town, all the mothers would call to their children, "Come inside quickly before it rains." This made the Ziz very sad. He loved children and didn't want to spoil their playtime. So the Ziz started flying around at night when no one would notice that he made the sky dark. That worked for a while. Then one night, the big Ziz flew too high and bumped into a star. Sizzle, snap, bang! The star fell out of the sky, down to the earth, and burned a hole in the ground. The next morning, when the Ziz saw the big hole, he was worried. "What can I do to cover that hole?" he asked. Thought about it, and then he had an idea. He stretched out his huge wings and went back up into the sky. This time he knocked down a cloud. Plop! The cloud was full of rain and filled a big hole with water. Now it was a perfect swimming pond. "Yay," said the Ziz, "the mistake is all fixed." One day, however, the Ziz made a mistake he could not fix. It was the week before Rosh Hashanah. He was flying along, not watching where he was going, and flew smack into the tallest pine tree in the world. Boom! The tree fell over and knocked over another tree, which knocked over another tree that fell on the vegetable garden in the synagogue. Smash! Squash! Oops! Oh no! The Ziz covered his eyes. Not the vegetable garden, it belongs to the children. The Ziz uncovered his eyes and looked at the damage. The tomatoes, the corn, the pumpkins, the vegetables the children had worked so hard to plant were smashed to bits. "I can't knock down a cloud and fix this." So he flew home and sat in his garden to think. Every year the children harvest the garden to decorate their sukkah. What would they do this year? The Ziz spread out his wings and flew off to have a chat with God. Ziz had a special place where he liked to talk to God. It was at the top of Mount Sinai. The Ziz was so huge that when he stood on Mount Sinai, his green head reached right up to heaven.
"What have you done this time?"
"I knocked over a big tree. It knocked over another tree. The tree smashed the vegetable garden."
"The children's garden?"
"Yes."
"That's a problem."
"I can't knock down a cloud and make this better."
"No, you can't."
"What should I do?"
"I want you to do something for me."
"Anything, God, anything."
"I want you to search the earth and bring back the hardest word."
"The hardest word?"
"Yes. Now go."
The Ziz stretched his wings and went off to search. He flew over mountains. He flew over trees. He flew over valleys. He flew over seas. Flap, 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 I'm the biggest bird. Flap, 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 searching for the hardest word. After searching the whole day, he rested at the edge of a forest. In a nearby house, a mother was arguing with her son. "I don't want to go to bed," the little boy said. "You need your rest," the mother said. "I'm not tired." "Good night," the mother said. "That's it, the hardest word. I found it." Ziz flew up and said, "God, God, God, I found it. I found the hardest word."
"What is it?"
"It's good night. Every child hates that word."
"Good night is a hard word for children."
"I knew it. I knew it. I knew it."
"But there's another word that's even harder."
"There is?"
"Go and find it."
So Ziz spread his wings and flew off. He flew over mountains. He flew over trees. He flew over valleys. He flew over seas. Flap, flap, flap. I'm the biggest bird. Flap, flap, flap. Searching for the hardest word. He flew and he flew and he flew and he landed on a table. "I'm hungry," a little girl said to her mother. "May I have some biscotti?" The mother smiled. "Oh, you mean spaghetti." That's it, I've got it now." Spread out his wings and flew back. "God, God, 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 I know the hardest word.
What is it?
It's spaghetti.
Spaghetti is a hard word to say.
Didn't I tell you?
But there's another word, even harder.
There is.
Go out and find it.
So the Ziz stretched his big wings. He flew over the mountains, he flew over the trees, he flew over the valleys, he flew over the seas. Flap, 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 I'm the biggest bird. Flap, 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 searching for the hardest word. The Ziz searched for more days. He brought back lots of words. Rock, rhinoceros, ridiculous, Rumpelstiltskin. Each time God sent the Ziz back to find another word. By the evening of Rosh Hashanah, the Ziz had brought back over 100 words. He had tried and tried. He flew back to Mount Sinai to have one more discussion with God.
What word did you bring this time?
No word.
No word?
No, I've come to say I'm sorry. I can't find the hardest word.
You can't?
No, I'm sorry.
You're sorry?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Good job. You found the hardest word.
I did?
The hardest word is sorry. While you brought words to me that were hard, sorry is the hardest word to say.
I always say I'm sorry on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
Well, you should say it at other times, too.
Like when I smashed the garden?
That's right.
The Ziz thanked God and pulled his green head out of heaven. Then he spread out his great big wings and flew back to the children's garden. On the way, he stopped at his own garden and gathered a big basket of fruits and vegetables. And then he said to the children, it's time to say the hardest word. I'm sorry.